What's good, everybody? So this was an examples video. I promised I would make one to follow up to my lesson video. So if you don't know how to solve inequalities and this video just seems like it's a little bit too much, you can always go to my lesson video where I really break down how this works. So in this video, what I'm going to be doing is just examples of compound inequalities and all the different ways that these can kind of work themselves out. So I'm going to be going through these 6 examples. So, like I said, if you want more of a breakdown, check that out. And one thing I also want to mention is, so we're going to put our answers on a number line and an interval notation. If you don't know how that works, I will also drop a link to that in the description of this video. Okay, so ways you can use this video: you can always just pause, try these examples, and then hit play when you're ready. Or if there's a specific example you want to use, you can of course just fast forward to it. So let's just jump right into this then. So starting with the first one. So I talked about this in my lesson video. So the first thing that you want to do with these is you want to solve for x, and just do whatever you need to do to solve for x. So in this case, so I need to first add 4 to each side. So I've got x is greater than 12 for this first one. And then I've got x plus 2 is less than or equal to -3, so I'm just going to subtract off the 3. So I've got, this comes out to x is less than -5. Okay, and so this is an OR problem. So the thing I talked about in my lesson video with OR problems, with an OR problem, you're really just graphing both solutions on the same number line. So here's -5, here's 12. So if I start with x is greater than 12, so I'm going to shade this way. And the 12 will get a round bracket or an open dot, whichever one you use in your book. And then for x is less than -5, so I'm going to shade this way. This is the less than direction. And this will also get a round bracket or an open dot, again, whichever one you use. And so there's your number line. So now we need to do the interval notation. So I go from left to right. I start here. This is the -infinity. I'm starting really at -infinity. Infinity always gets a round bracket. I continue all the way to -5, and I stop there. And then I use the union symbol to show that I am really jumping over all the way to 12, which still gets a round bracket. And then I continue on to the positive infinity direction. So there you go. There's your solution. Okay, so now I've got 2x plus 1 is greater than or equal to 7, and 5x minus 10 is less than 20. Okay, so once again, we just start by solving for x. So I'll go ahead and I'll subtract 1 here, and so I get 2x is greater than or equal to 6. Divide both sides by 2, and I get x is greater than or equal to 3. So there's the first one. Now for the other one, I'm going to add 10 to each side. So I get 5x is less than 30, and then I divide both sides by 5 to get x is less than 6. Now the key thing to remember here is that this is an AND problem. So now what I want to do is, with an AND problem, I think it's best to actually graph both number lines. So let me clear some space for myself so I can do all of what I need to do. Okay, so I'm going to draw 2 number lines. So I'm going to show 3 and 6 on each number line. Here's 3, here's 6. So on the first number line, I'm going to take a look at x is greater than or equal to 3, and for the other one, I'm going to take a look at x is less than 6. And as a reminder, the reason that we're doing this is because this is an AND problem as opposed to an OR problem. So if I graph x is greater than or equal to 3, so that's going to go this direction. And okay, so that's going to have a closed dot or a square bracket, whichever you prefer. Okay, so that's the first one. So now we go to the next one. So what about x is less than 6? So x is less than 6 means I'm going to shade this way. And so that's going to get an open circle or a round bracket, whichever you prefer. And so because this is an AND problem, so the thing that I'm looking for is where is the overlap. And the overlap in this case happens literally between 3 and 6, so between there. So I want to shade for my final answer between 3 and 6, and I should probably write this down. This is x is greater than 3 and x is less than 6. And then I just use this same notation that I used from above. So 3 will still get a closed dot, and 6 will still get an open dot. And then for my interval notation, so I start at 3, gets a square bracket because 3 is included. And then I go all the way to 6, and it gets a round bracket. 6 is not included. So there you go. Okay, so moving on to C here. So I've got an OR problem again. So first we solve for x. So I'll start by subtracting off the 2 here. So this becomes 4x is greater than 16. Divide both sides by 4, and I get x is greater than 4. And now for this other one, so let's see, I'll add 1. So I get 3x is less than 18. Divide both sides by 3, and I get x is less than 6. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and draw one number line because it's an OR problem, so I'll write an OR here again. So for an OR problem, I can just graph everything together at once. So for x is greater than 4, so I'm going to shade this way, so that's x is greater than 4, and I can put an open dot here. And then for x is less than 6, so I'll put an open dot at 6, which you can't even really see because there's that overlap. But x is less than 6 means I'm actually going to go this direction. So this is something I talked about in the lesson video. As far as what happens with your answer, it is like total luck of the draw as to how this is going to look. So you really just want to follow the two inequalities and see what you get. In this case, I shaded everything. So my answer in interval notation, it starts at negative infinity and it just goes to positive infinity. It's everything. That's literally what we want. Okay, so now I'm moving on to D. So once again, I've got to solve for each one of these. So for D, so first I'm going to subtract 2 from each side. So I get negative 3x is greater than 6, and then I divide both sides by negative 3. And remember, since I'm dividing by a negative, I have to flip the inequality. So this becomes x is less than negative 2. Okay, now let's go to the other one. So let's see, I'm going to subtract 2 from each side. So I get 5x is greater than 10. Divide both sides by 5, and I get x is greater than 2. And so this one is an and, right? So for an and, what we have to do is put both of these on the number line. So let me clear some space. And so I'm going to go ahead and graph each one of these on the number line because it is an and that just helps me to visualize a little bit better. Okay, so I'm going to do x is less than negative 2 and x is greater than 2. So for x is less than negative 2, so I'll go this direction with an open circle or a round bracket. And then for x is greater than 2, so I'll go this direction, again with an open circle or a round bracket. Okay, so this is an and. So you have to stop and think for a second. An and means you're looking for the intersection, of which in this case there is none, right? There is no intersection between these two. So since there is no overlap or intersection, that means that the solution is just the empty set. There is nothing. That's it. That's the solution. Okay, so moving on to E here. So we have another OR problem. Okay, so first things first. So to solve for 5x plus 9 is less than 16, I'm going to subtract off the 9. So I get 5x now is less than 7. Divide both sides by 5, and I have x is less than 7/5. Okay, now for the other one. So let's see, I'm going to subtract off the 4. So I've got negative 3x is greater than 10. Divide both sides by negative 3, and I get x is greater than, and since I divided by a negative, I have to flip the inequality. So this becomes x is less than negative 10 over 3. Okay, so we're going to put both of these on the number line. So I've got negative 10 thirds, and I've got 7 over 5. Okay, so let's start with x is less than 7 over 5. So the less than direction is this way. And by the way, this is an OR, right? So I can just put both of these together. So here's the less than direction. And I'm going to put an open circle here. And now for x is less than negative 10 thirds. So technically I would put an open circle at negative 10 thirds and color to the left. But I just end up overlapping everything. So again, these problems, anything can really happen. So you just really have to follow like what happens when you graph these out on the number line. And so in this case, so here's my answer. So my answer from an interval notation standpoint, I'm starting here at negative infinity. And I just continue all the way. So like this open circle got kind of trampled by the fact that all this shading happened. So I don't have to worry about this open circle. So I just start here at negative infinity and I go all the way to 7/5. And 7/5 is not included because it had the open circle. Okay, and so for the final one, So for f, so first I'm going to subtract 3, so I get negative 2x is greater than 6. And then I'll divide both sides by negative 2, and since I divided by a negative, I have to flip the direction of the inequality, so I get x is less than negative 3. And then for this other one, so let's see, I'm going to subtract off the 5 first, so I get negative x is less than negative 17. Divide both sides by negative 1. Again, I divided by a negative, so I need to flip, so this becomes x is greater than 18, and this is once again an and. And so if I put both of these together on the number line, so it's not together, sorry, if I do them on their separate number lines, here's negative 3, here's 18, here's negative 3, here's 18. So here's x is less than negative 3, and here's x is greater than 18. So for x is less than negative 3, so I go this direction with an open circle. And for x is greater than 18, I go this direction, also with an open circle. And it's that same idea of there is no overlap in this case. So since there's no overlap, once again, it's just the empty set. So very important that you just really follow like what is happening on these number lines, because anything goes with these. Hopefully this video was helpful. You got any questions, you can always leave me a comment. It really helps me out if you like the videos or if you subscribe to my channel. Otherwise, thanks for watching, guys. I'll catch you next time.